what's the important balance between distributed versus centralized assets when you're setting up networks that have a big digital component, where sometimes the easiest solution is a centralized system. How important is distributed assets in all of these kinds of systems?
Yeah, it's essential. If you'll see later, we're nominated for a microgrid award at this Edison Institute concept. And what's really fun about that is if you think about when Edison first kind of got the electric utility system founded in the United States, it was very distributed. Then there were economies of scale to move it to large central generation. Now there's economies of scale and resilience and cost advantages to move back to a much more distributed situation. Today we're building energy storage systems with Tesla, where we're deploying the same batteries that are in the electric car in commercial and industrial facilities to help them with specifically what you're talking about, resilience and being able to get less dependent on the macro grid and be able to keep up your electric supply in certain storm-related and other issues. So yeah, it's really interesting to see that transition from very distributed back to centralized, now back to distributed. And that's what new technology is enabling. And there's business cases that make that work. And it's been very interesting to see in electricity. I don't know enough about, maybe when Clint Robinson talks later, he can tell you more about the water impacts of distributed water treatment, but certainly in rural parts of the world and underserved areas, it's much more likely that that solution is going to be a distributed solution than building a big central plant water treatment system.
What's going to be interesting is, remember that at the heart of the smart cities and digitization and everything we've talked about is the internet. The internet was designed to withstand a nuclear attack. It is a very mesh-oriented approach that you can, if you design your applications, your data right, you can work around it. So you have an architecture that is built for this type of balance. And just using the example of big data, most big data will not actually be done in a central cloud like everybody thought. It will be done at the edge of the network where you have data in motion, et cetera. So if you design things right and you think about the issues you just raised from the beginning, regardless of industry you're in, whether it's in water, whether it's in transportation, whether it's in food supply, et cetera, you design it right, you can do a combination that probably is the best of both worlds. But the point you're making, I agree with, and I've got to think about it more. You have to design that architecture at the beginning. It can't be an afterthought.